This conference will now be recorded.
Rabbi zidni ilma, 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 Rabbi Rabbi zidni ilma, 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 रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा 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 रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा। शुक्रन लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्रन लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। या अली मदद अजीज सर।
या अली मदद, या अली मदद। तमाम साथियों को या अली मदद। सुभान अल्लाह, सुभान अल्लाह। या अली मदद, या अली मदद,
या अली मदद,
या अली मदद। बहुत खूब। हम आज का आगाज इमाम के मुबारक नाम से करते हैं। नूर मौलाना शाह करीम अल हुसैनी हाजिर इमाम, हाजिर इमाम, हाजिर इमाम। या मौलाए मेहरबान, या मौलाए मेहरबान, मदद फरमा, मदद फरमा। अल्लाहुल कय्यूम, अली अल्लाह, मदद फरमा। या मौला तौफीक, ताहीद, हिम्मत व यारी मौला, तौफीक, ताहीद, हिम्मत व यारी मौला। या मौला मेहरबान, मदद फरमा। या मौला मदद फरमा। या रहमान, या रहीम, या रहमान, या रहीम, या रहमान, या रहीम, मदद मौला, मदद मौला, मदद मौला। या मौला मदद, 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 मदद मौला। तमाम साथियों को एक बार फिर या अली मदद, and thank you for joining us this morning. Ameen.
Thank you for listening.
Ya Ali Madad.
Shukran lillah. Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
And you notice we have changed the gear a little bit. Saturday is normally our Farman class, but due to my absence tomorrow morning, but we will have the Ilmi session, inshallah, on the same subject by our guest speaker, Hazrat Yasmin Karim Saiba and respected Dr. Rubina Saiba on the same subject. And they will continue on the importance of ilm in our tariqah. They have a beautiful presentation for the friends tomorrow morning. So today we will continue on this very subject with a farman, with a farman. Early in our session, we have read one of the Sultan Muhammad Shah, Salvatullah Alayhi, may our soul be sacrificed to their Imam, and his farman on how the lesson learning, it's a lifelong learning. It's not a one-time event when we are young and going to school. And Mullah Ali have said that learning is part of the human from the cradle to the grave, from the beginning to the end. And now we have Farman from our current Imam-e-Zaman, Nur Maulana Shah Karim Hussaini Hazir Imam. before we read the Farman, this tells us that sometimes we feel, but we are so fortunate and so lucky. In our group, we have an older person as old as 88-year-old. If anyone is more older than 88, then please let me know. I was just looking to see who is the oldest person in our group to give this example. And we have a youngest person around 16, 17-year-old. Look at the 16, 17 to 88. There's a 70-year, there's a large group, I would say, that we have from the young to the old. And we are all here gathered for two purposes. What is the first purpose? To make our Imam happy. Because when we follow his Farman, and his Farman says that learn, learn, learn. So by doing this, we are making our Imam very happy. And second, in return, we are learning things, if we are on the older side, which we have never learned before, and now we have a chance and opportunity to do so. If we are the young ones, we are learning early on as per Imam wish. If you are the parents of the young ones, I would say you have the best opportunity to learn and then teach the very knowledge, ilm, tariqah to your children. And maybe their friends and to the younger children in Jamaat. I remember as a REC teacher how wonderful and curious minded our children are. How wonderful and curious minded our children are. They have asked such a wonderful questions which inspired this Garib and Nachiz to seek and learn more so we can teach them more, so we may be able to answer them more. What part makes me sad is when a child comes or a parent comes to me and say our children are asking a question and we don't have an answer, or we ask ABC and they could not provide the answer. It is our great fortunate, our soul, we were born in a Ismaili tariqa where Imam is always present and therefore ilm is always present. Ilm is always present, meaning there are no question for which there are no answer. Now, to accept that answer or not, that is up to us, but answers are always present, and don't give up. Keep seeking answer. Don't give up. Always keep answer. Keep your mind open. Keep your heart open. Keep your hope Don't give up. Seek answer. If you know something, try to learn more. If you don't know something, try to learn. And this is the very farman we are about to read. We are about to read, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Maulana Hazir Imam in Kampala, Uganda, 10 October 2017, during the Golden Jubilee, says, the human intellect is what must engage in the practice of faith. So this becomes the key. The human intellect is what must engage in the practice of faith. I also wish that our younger generations, and I see children from all different ages in front of me, should take advantage of good education so that what Allah has given us, which is a brain, we may invest in that which has been given to us, which makes us different from the animal that surround us, that we see every day. Mullah further says, that is the only difference, not life, not death, not sickness, not good health. All that we share, but we do not share one thing with animal, and that is the human brain. And therefore, we must engage our human brain in the practice of our faith. And I have said this, my spiritual children, on many occasions. Faith as a matter of intellect. Faith as a matter of intellect. The intellect, the human intellect, is what must engage in the practice of the faith. Please recite the Holy Salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. I remember one of the Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman, I believe was 1905, where Imam are using very similar word. He asks a question in that Farman. What is the difference between you and the animal? This is a very famous Farman for some of us. We will remember this, because this Farman used to be read in Jamaat Khana on regular basis. What is the difference between you and animal? Imam would ask. And I'm talking about previous Imam. And that is 1905 Farman, about 100 years older than this Farman. Imam says, look at them. They are born, so are you. They eat, so do you. They make babies, so do you. And then they die, and so do you. What is the difference between you and the animal? Imam asks again in that Farman. It is your intellect what makes you a human. वो आपकी अक्ल ही है जो आपको एक जानवर से अलग करती है, वो आपकी अक्ल है. That makes you different than an animal. Otherwise, there is no difference. If we are doing everything which is common between us and animal, then what is the difference? And remember, Imam also have used some word that there are human-like animal. So who are human who are like animal? Those who does not use their intellect to engage in their faith. Blind faith was okay up to a point, because when we are learning in the young age, or when we are teaching our children, so what do we teach them initially? Initially, they are not able to understand many things. So what do? We tell them, just go to Jamaat Khana. This is Mullah Baba, this is our Imam, this is our guide, this is our Jamaat Khana, this is our practice. All based on blind faith at that point. But eventually, when they grow up, hopefully by the time they are 16, 17, 18, they have enough knowledge, enough information, enough understanding of our faith, because without that, they are not doing anything but mimicking. ये पार्ट थोड़ा मैं उर्दू में भी समझाना चाहूंगा कि ब्लाइंड फेथ जो है वो बराबर है, ओके है। कब तक? जब तक बच्चे छोटे हैं, आप उसको दुआ सिखाएं, जमात खाने की ताजीम सिखाएं, इमाम की मोहब्बत सिखाएं, उनको जमात खाने लेके जाएं, दुआ पढ़ाएं, उनको हमारे जमात के सारी राइट्स और रिचुअल सिखाएं। लेकिन जब वो 15, 16, 17, 18 साल के हो जाते हैं, इस उम्र तक उनके पास हमारे तरीके का पूरा इल्म होना चाहिए। जिस तरह से आप उनको स्कूल भेजते हैं और दुनिया की तालीम देते हैं और उसके ऊपर जोर भी देते हैं, इसी तरह से आप अपने मजहब की तालीम दें उनको, ताकि उनको हमारे मजहब के बारे में पूरी जानकारी हो। एंड दे शुड नॉट फॉलो, इसके बाद वो हमारे मजहब को किसी तोते और बंदर की तरह ना फॉलो करें, वो एक इंसान की तरह अपने इंटेलेक्ट से फॉलो करे। जिस तरह से वो स्कूल में जाकर दुनियावी इल्म लेते हैं, इसी तरह आप उनको हमारे मजहब की तालीम दें, अपने मजहब की तालीम दें, ताकि वो एक अच्छे और स्ट्रॉन्ग इस्माइली बन सके। दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, अ बैलेंस, कि जितना तवज्जो हम उनके दुनियावी तालीम पर देते हैं, अनफॉर्चुनेटली बैलेंस इज नॉट देयर। हम उनको दुनिया की तालीम तो देते हैं, मजहब की तालीम नहीं देते हैं, या मजहब की तालीम पर जोर नहीं देते हैं। मे बी बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव अ वैल्यू of our religious education, and therefore we do not emphasize on religious side of it. We emphasize on the physical side of it, worldly education, because we think that is more important. But due to whatever reason, we are not keeping balance, and we are not giving them the religious education, understanding of our tariqah. And I think to keep a good balance, because we were talking about the balance in our previous session, there would be a good balance to teach our children. Inshallah, inshallah. And remember, in this time and age, in the age of internet, there are chances that our children will learn something incorrectly, because there is just too much trash flowing around on internet. We have to be very careful Because if we don't give that knowledge, our religious knowledge to our children, we will leave a void in their mind, and their void will be filled by the trash from outside. It will be filled. That is guaranteed. अगर आप अपने बच्चों को अपने मजहब की तालीम नहीं देंगे तो उसके अंदर एक खला बाकी रह जाएगा, और आज के जमाने में वो खाली खला जो है वो बाहर की बेकार बातों से भर जाएगा। फिर हमें अफसोस होगा कि हमने अपने बच्चों को मजहब की तालीम क्यों नहीं दी, क्योंकि हमने वो जगह खाली छोड़ दी थी, तो उन्होंने बाहर से लाकर उसको भर दिया। So we have to be very mindful of this fact. Especially I'm speaking to our young parents. If you have children anywhere after above the age of 6, and by this time you already have given them the understanding of Jamaat Khana, you should start talking to them about other matters, and you have about 10 years to do that before they're adult, and then they will make the decision what is good and what is bad. One other thing, and that is teach them what is right versus what is wrong. एक और चीज आप करें कि अपने बच्चों को हक और झूठ के बीच में तमीज सिखाएं, फैक्ट एंड इनकरेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन के दरमियान में तमीज सिखाएं। उनको सिखाएं कि किस तरह से हमारा इमाम इमाम बरहक है, इमाम बरहक है। अब उन क्लासेस को ज्वाइन करें जहां पर इमाम बरहक की तालीम दी जाती है, जहां पर सिखाया जाता है कि किस तरह से इमाम इमाम होता है, इमाम बनता है, किस तरह से इमामत जारी सारी रहती है, कुरान के अंदर कहां पर लिखा हुआ है। देखें, हमारे बच्चे गिनान नहीं पढ़ सकेंगे बिकॉज इट इज नॉट देयर लैंग्वेज। There are many books available on our tariqa which they can read in English, in Urdu, and in other languages. But if you can teach them and show them the recognition of Imam, then they will be able to know the truth versus incorrect information. Imam Barhaq, the true Imam. True Imam. All right. So let's go and talk about some food for the thought to show you what is the difference between how we have been following our tariqa and how we should pay attention to our tariqa. And that is only, you can only do this if you have an ilm. Without the ilm, this question will not come in your mind. It is the ilm which open the doors to your heart and to your mind and bring those query, bring those questions, those wonders. So I used to have a title over instead of food for thought. I used to write over here, do you ever wonder? That's what I normally would write over here. Do you ever wonder? And let's take those do you ever wonder questions. The volunteerism, especially shoe company service. If you are with this Garib and Nachis for last couple of years, you have noticed I have put so much emphasis on shoe company service. So much emphasis. And there is a big, huge reason for that. There's a huge reason for that. I hear a lot of new Jamaat Khanas no longer have shoe company service. But if you knew the value, the reason for the shoe company service, you will never ever take away shoe company service. You will never do that. Only if you understood that. I mean, look at the church, no shoe company. Look at the masjid, no shoe company service. Where do you find shoe company service? In Ismaili Tariqa. You think we have anything hocus pocus in our Tariqa? आप देखें कि आपको शू कंपनी की सर्विस कहीं भी नहीं मिलती है, आप चर्च में चले जाएं, मस्जिद में चले जाएं, लेकिन हमारे तरीके में आपको शू कंपनी की सर्विस मिलती है, जबकि हमारे तरीके में कोई भी ओकस पोकस चीजें नहीं है। हर चीज को एक मकसद के लिए रखा गया है। There is a reason for the shoes company service. Once you know this, and if you don't have a shoes company in your Jamaat Khana, I don't know how can I help you with that, but it lays in your heart, you will have the value of the service when we had it and we lost it. Shoes company. We are talking about the volunteerism in totality, but especially shoes company service. Think about shoes company. What do you see? You see some volunteers, from old person to the young person, from man to woman, from the most educated to illiterate. You see all sort of Jamaati members in the shoe company service. If I'm not right in my observation, please tell me. But you see all sort. You will find doctors, you will find accountants, lawyers, businessmen. You will find rich and poor giving service in shoe company. Now imagine there is a gentleman, very rich, let's say he's a billionaire with a huge company or multiple stores, businesses in town. And he has 1,000 Ismailis working for him. When he goes to work in the morning, all those 1,000 employees are there to serve him. But when they come to Jamaat Khana, the boss who's giving service in the shoe company will happily, gladly, pleasingly will pick up his employee shoes and put it in the box, and he will, with the most humbleness, humility, will tell you, Yali Madad, take your shoes, regardless of your condition of your shoes. It may be smelly, wet due to the rain, old shoes, new shoes. He will not make face. He will happily serve. You know what shoes company have done for our Jamaat? It have taught us humility. Shoes company ने हमें आजीजी सिखाई है. आजीजी सिखाई है. Just imagine this scenario. There are men who has 1,000 employees who are ready to serve them during the day, but in the evening, the very boss, when he is standing in the shoes company, जब वो shoes company में खड़ा होता है, तो वो अपने एम्प्लॉयज के गंदे गीले स्मेली शूज को उठाकर खुशी खुशी से रखता है। क्यों? कि जमात खाने के अंदर शूज कंपनी की सर्विस हमारी बेसिक, दैट इज आवर फर्स्ट क्लास वेरी बेसिक नॉलेज ऑफ ह्यूमिलिटी। वो हमको आजीजी सिखाने का दरवाजा था। शूज कंपनी हमें आजीजी सिखाने का पहला दरवाजा था। अगर अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमने नहीं सोचा इसके बारे में और शूज कंपनी को हटा दिया जमात खाने के अंदर से, in my humble opinion, there's a great loss, a great loss to voluntarism and to learn the humility. अगर ये ऐसा हुआ है जिन जमात खानों में, आप सोचें कि आपने क्या लॉस कर दिया है, क्योंकि वो पहला दरवाजा था हमें ह्यूमिलिटी सिखाने का, हमें आजीजी सिखाने का, and we lost that. Fortunately, still 90+% Jamaat Khana has shoes company. That is very fortunate. There are only few, and I hear the new and bigger and better Jamaat Khanas, they are forgetting the service of shoes company, and they are opening shoes company which are self-service, meaning just like any masjid, any church, you take care of your own shoes. Meaning you take your shoes, put it up. When you come back, you remember where you kept your shoes and you take it. There are no shoe company services. It was a very pillar of learning humility. My parents, I remember when I was a child, and this goes for all my brother and sister. My parents will tell us, you can serve in any service. You can clean Jamaat Khana, you can give water company, but you must serve shoes company. And they will teach us why. So once you serve in the shoes company, after that, whatever you do in Jamaat Khana, you will do it with humility. Just think of that volunteer standing in front of Mukhi Sahib compared to the volunteer standing in shoes company. The person standing in shoes company, he would have 100 times more humility because he is touching your dirty, smelly shoes. That shows his humility. Now, disclosure. एक बात मैं यहाँ पर आपको बताता जाऊं कि अगर कोई शूज कंपनी में काम करता है उसको पता ही नहीं है, he has no knowledge, no ilm, no understanding कि वो क्या सर्विस दे रहा है, what service he is doing and what he is learning, and then that is the lack of knowledge. तो ये उसके इल्म की कमी है कि वो एक ऐसी सर्विस दे रहा है, such a great service, and he doesn't even know. That is the sad part then. That is the lack of knowledge. I cannot help them on that part. But you understand my point. That is the food for thought. Do you ever wonder? That is what. So think about it, ponder on it, reflect on it. Ask yourself, have we ever thought like that? Did we ever wonder? That is the food for thought. Number 2, when we enter in Jamaat Khana and we say Hai Zinda, where is Hai Zinda? If you ask 99% of the Jamaat, 50% will tell you that we said because Pir in his Ginan have instructed us to say so. हम जमासन में दाखिल होते हुए है जिंदा कहते हैं. अगर आप 99% जमात से पूछे उसमें से आधे कहेंगे कि हम इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि पीर ने अपने गिनानों में हमें कहा है कहने के लिए. बाकी आधे आपको कहेंगे कि है जिंदा का मतलब है इमाम जिंदा है. That would be the answer. How about we understand through ilm what really है जिंदा means? Let's learn through the ilm what does है जिंदा means. Why do you say it every day and why people repeat again and again? So first a scenario. सबसे पहले एक तस्वुर बांधते हैं हम कि एक बंदा जमात खाने में दाखिल होता है. A person comes and enters जमात खाना say है जिंदा. Someone who's sitting in जमात खाना says कायम पाया. Then the second person enters, says है जिंदा. Now imagine in those big jamaat khanas where people are coming in quantity. Those sound will be ringing in every second. So within a minute, within a 10 minutes that you are sitting there, you will hear Hezinda and Kaim Paya more than 100 times. Because people will be entering from different doors, men and women. Hezinda, Kaim Paya, Hezinda, Kaim Paya, Hezinda, Kaim Paya. If we take those 50% who says that we say Hezinda, meaning Imam is alive, when one first person said Hezinda, and when the first person replied Kayam Paya, we already knew that part, that Imam is alive. And someone confirmed Kayam Paya. I have also found him to be here, to be alive. We already know this part. Now imagine you are repeating something 100 times in 15 minutes. In your home, at your work, what will people will tell you if you keep repeating something again and again? They will say, I'm tired of you, stop that. Right? But we don't get tired of listening to Hezinda and Kayapaya, do we? Why don't we get tired of that, listening to Hezinda and Kayapaya? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever wondered that? If someone in your home, your children, you know how children, they are always repeating things. And sometimes we say, okay, beta, stop it. I heard you, I got it. You know, you get tired of hearing repetition. But in Jamaat Khana, we hear Hezinda Kayapaya 100 times and we don't even get tired. Hezinda and Kayapaya has a deeper meaning to it. A great, a beautiful tradition and understanding. Once you learn this, I guarantee you today when you go to Jamaat Khana and when you say Hezinda or when you hear someone say Hezinda, your feeling will change. Your feeling will change. It is the repetition of Baya. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is the repetition of Baya. And the tradition goes, I said that is the tradition. The tradition goes, whenever you find Imam in front of you, meaning when Mawla Baba come to give Didar, a moment supposed to repeat his Baya with the Imam. Because when initially we took our Bayat, we were just a baby, we don't even remember. Our parents took us to Jamaat Khana We don't remember taking bayah. But as we grow up and as we learn and understand, we wanted to affirm our promise, our bayah to the Imam Zaman. And therefore, whenever we find him in front of us, alive, नफ्स नफीस उर्दू में कहते हैं कि जब आप इमाम को जमात खाने में नफ्स नफीस पाएं तो कहें है जिंदा, because the bayah sits on the entire foundation of that we believe in and we always will follow a living and present Imam. Isn't that right? So when you are entering the Jamaat Khana, and if you find Imam to be present in Jamaat Khana, you say what? Hai zinda. I found my Imam to be living and present. In your heart, you are repeating your bayah. And in bayah, you need a witness. Correct? So someone says, Kayam Paya. She becomes your witness that I also have found Imam to be living and present. Now here, a thought process. What if you do not find Imam living and present in Jamaat Khana? Faith plays a huge role, a greater role than we can ever imagine in our bayah and in our saying Hai Zinda. A huge role. If you believe, so now we are adding on to our understanding of Hai Zinda. If you believe Imam is present in Jamaat Khana, say Hai Zinda. And someone who believes that Imam is present in Jamaat Khana, he or she will answer you, Kayam Paya. I have also found him. A formation of your bayah that we are only and only follow the Imam Barhaq, the living and present Imam. Our tariqah is based on this belief कि मेरा तन मन धन हाजिर इमाम के लिए है. Everything I have, my body, my soul, my intellect, and all the positions I have is belong to the Imam Zaman. And remember, the bayah is two-way. This promise is two-way. You are promising to the Imam that I will follow you. Imam is in return promising back to you that if you follow me, I will guide you. That's a promise. Bayah is a two-way contract. Two-way contract. How beautiful is that? That every day you find Imam present and living, and you are doing bayah on Imam's hand every day. How beautiful is that? I told you, if you understand this part, you go to Jamasana today, your way of seeing things will change. You know what else will change? You will never be disrespectful in Jamaat Khana. You know what else will change? You will not be able to do gossip or backbiting in Jamaat Khana. You know why? Because you will feel the presence of the Imam in Jamaat Khana. And how dare you talk loudly? How dare you do anything which is not acceptable to the Imam? You will not do anything in the front of the Imam because you feel and you know and you believe and you understand that Imam is right in front of you in the Jamaat Khana. You see, this one word has in the an understanding of this word, it will change your entire way how you go to Jamaat Khana and how you sit there and your actions. Remember those three kind of mu'min? One who goes to Jamaat Khana and come back with sin. Second who goes to Jamaat Khana, come back empty handed. You will not be one of those. You will be the one with this understanding. You will go to Jamaat Khana and you will bring the basket full of good deeds. Amen. Amen to that. We have one more question. Have we ever wondered? Have we ever wondered? And I'm about to blow your mind away. Have you ever wondered why does every Imam use Al-Husseini, Shah Karim Al-Husseini, Muhammad Sultan Muhammad Shah Al-Husseini? Why do you use Al-Husseini and not Ali? Are we from the progeny of Ali? An Imam Ale Nabi Olade Ali? But every Imam used the word, the last name, as Al-Husseini. Have you ever wondered? Right? I just can see some of the faces now. That no, I have never thought about that. Ilm opens the door to our heart and our mind. We are able to see wider things. In one of the Imam's Farman, Imam Shah Aga Shah Ali Shah Farman, that we, the Imams in the descendant from Imam Hussein, are present until today, and we shall remain until the Qiyamah, and even after the Qiyamah. Lot to think about. So what I will do, I will stop here. I'll let you think about it. This is your do you ever wonder homework. Think about it, and we will talk about it next week. Other things I would like you to look at it before next week. How many surahs and ayat are in our dua? Just so we can, when we talk about it next week, it will help you understand more better and closely, inshallah. So think about this question. Why Imam used last name as Al-Husseini, not Al-Ali? G. So let me stop here. Thank you, everyone.
So, subhanallah, sir. Friends, if you have any question, please share in the chat room, or you can ask later. So we have two questions about the Haizinda. So the first friend asking about, can we say practice Haizinda in home environment when we are unable to go Jamaat Khana, and why we say Haizinda while taking a shukri?
Very good questions. Very, very good question. All right. So our tradition is that whenever you find Imam in front of us, then you say Haizinda. So your question number one, if you are that mu'min who has a firm belief, and you should, that is, that Imam is present in your home. And if you are using your room in your home, where you normally go and sit and do your dua, And especially if you have children with you, teach them. That would be a great teaching and learning and a tradition in your home, that just before the dua, and I remember from our childhood that we will start as soon we sit for the dua inside the home as a family. The very first thing we will say, Hazinda, and the family will answer, Kaim Paya, and then we will say Bismillah and we will start the dua. But don't just say it with the belief. Teach your children that tradition. That would be a good tradition. So answer to your question was yes, because you are using that area as Jamaat Khana. Second, why do we say it when we take the Niyaz or Sukrit? Again, a formation, because Niyaz and the Niyaz ceremony, you notice one thing that we do, and I think that would be a great subject to add to these questions. Why do we say Farman when we are putting the Niyaz in the Pyali? We say Farman Yali Ya Muhammad, Farman Yali Ya Muhammad, Farman Yali Ya Muhammad. Why do we say that? Have you ever wondered? What we are saying, I pour this Niyaz, Abi Shafa, with the Farman, with the Amr of the Imam Zaman. And when we reply to that, Ya Li Ya Muhammad, we are saying, we are affirming that the Amr has come to us from Ali and Muhammad. You see, a great tradition. In our tariqah, there is no hocus pocus. Everything has a much deeper meaning, a great tradition. So, good question. So, we are affirming that this is from the living Imam. Great question. Thank you. G.
Sir, another question, friends shared in the private chat. Why did Mola repeat the Farman on intellect?
Why did he repeat? Well, that is Imam's job. Every Imam repeats the core teaching and learning, right? Because this is the basic. And within Hazir Imam Farman, if you look at last 60-year Farhamins, you will see how much he has emphasized on knowledge, learning, and intellect. So much emphasis on that, because sometimes we forget and we are using the blind faith. Blind faith is only for children because they don't have the logic developed yet, meaning intellect part is not developed completely. So for them, there is a blind faith. For grown up, there is no room for blind faith, because by then we should have our logic, our intellect developed. So Imam is reminding us again and again to use the intellect to follow your tariqah, your Imam, because our tariqah is a tariqah of intellect, Other meaning, our tariqah is not of hocus pocus. G.
Sir, another question. Please explain when we say Nur Maulana. The underlined word is Nur.
G. So Nur Maulana Shah Karim or Nur Maulana Shah, the Imam of the time. So 3 words, right? Nur, Maulana, Shah. Those 3 words. We start from the Shah. Shah, the king. Maulana, the master. The king and master of what? Of the Noor. So Noor Maulana Shah, we are saying that our Imam is the king and the master of the Noor, because he is the manifestation. नूरे मुजस्सम कहते हैं उर्दू के अंदर, manifested नूर, नूरे मुजस्सम. He is the Shah, the king, and the master of the Noor. Because without that part Noor, only thing you have left is the master. Then here we do say sometime Ya Mola, Ya Mola, Ya Mola. So what we are saying, you are my master, you are my master, you are my master. But understanding is that it is the Noor what makes him master over your soul. The understanding of that. G.
Sir, we don't have any question in the chat. Friends, anyone have any question? Please unmute your device.
Okay. I would like to repeat this part here. Faith as a matter of intellect. This part here. And there is a great question sitting here. What does it mean, our faith as a matter of intellect? Are there any faith without intellect? There's a great question sitting there. If anyone like to pay attention to that. G. Kamle sahab.
Sir, don't have any questions still.
Okay. If not,
Sir,
we can stop here. G. Kamle sahab.
There's one question a friend shared in the private chat. Imam has so many titles, but he uses Aga Khan. Why?
Okay. So how many times do we use word Aga Khan compared to a name, a title with which he is known to the world? So Imam have a worldly identity, a worldly identity. The Noor Maulana Shah Karim is how we know the Imam compared to how the world knows. So Imam adapted this early on with Imam Hassan Ali Shah when he was given this title by the Shah of Iran as Aga Khan. So historically, we did not use the word Aga Khan or the title Aga Khan for the Imams until Imam Hassan Ali Shah. So only 4 Imam, right? From Hassan Ali Shah, Sultan Muhammad Shah, and Hazar Imam. 4 Imam. So this name has become a staple name, meaning a recognized name, a worldly name, because when Imam manifests, and in the time of the Qiyamah, which is today, it is time of the Zawurat, is a time of manifestation. So Imam in his wisdom has taken identity, a name, a title, through which the entire world will know him. Because they are not believers, so they cannot use the word Noor Maulana Shah Karimul Hussain Yazd Imam. So Imam has taken a historical name, ID, a title for himself, Aga Khan. Now, if you like to dilute that into the title and what it means and all that, that is fine. Aga Khan name has a meaning, but it is not about the meaning, but it is about how he will identify himself as the religious leader of the Islam and the Ismaili Tariqa. So he has taken that identity so the world would recognize him with easily one single name, Aga Khan. And those who does not believe, why would even they use the word Shah Karim or Nur Maulana Shah Karim? They will not be able to digest that or able to use that. G. Historical. So read the history and you will understand further. G.
So we have another. What is the meaning of Shukrit and when did this tradition start?
Okay. So Shukrit was given to the Khoja Jamaat by our peers. So let's say about 600 to 800. Shukrit has the ingredients, gives you understanding of almost like a rosy. So when you're taking the Shukrit, you are taking the rosy and the barakat with the milk, with the water, with the grain, and with the sugar. Each one of them has a different meaning. The water, the ilm, the milk, the ilm of the peer, the rosy, again for the intellect and the soul, the grain, and the last is the sugar. The sugar is the tawil, the sweet ilm which is given to us. So it has a great meaning in it. It is not just shukrit. It has the meaning sitting behind that. So when we take that shukrit, we said, with this is coming to me from the living Imam Hayzinda. This is given to me by the living Imam, is coming from him. The shukrit is only valid and it is due to the living Imam. That's why we say Hayzinda, taking the shukrit. That we will take the water, we will take the milk, we will take the grain, and we will take the sugar. Ilm, Peer's ilm, the sweet ilm, and the barakat, the grain. And this rosy is not for your physical. Sugar will not do anything for you physically. It's for your soul and it's for your intellect. So there is a symbol of the four things which is given to you from the living Imam, from the Amar of the living Imam. And you notice we pour some niyaz on it. On the shukris, we pour some niyaz in it. That is the symbol of the Nur and the Amar. Good question. Thank you.
Sir, another question. What's the difference in the word when some starts with ya and some starts with al?
Very good question. Very good question. This question should have been asked in the when we talk about the Nur and when we talk about Bol and Isme Azam. So when we add a ya to a ism, it makes it a tasbih. For example, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali. Ya. Compared to Al. Al makes a ism Isme Azam. Meaning Ya Rahman, Al Rahman. Ya Rahim, Al Rahim. You see, those who can imagine the Arabic part of it, you can imagine Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. That makes a ism, a tasbih, or isme azam. Ji.
We don't have any questions yet. Friends, anyone have any question? Please unmute your device. Ji Jalal bhai, are you there?
याली मदद
Ya Ali Madad.
सुल्तान मोहम्मद साहब का फरमान है कि अगाव के जमाने में मुस्लिमों को यानी कि मैं गुजराती में बोलता हूँ कि अगावना जमानाમાં तलवाરના ઘા बर्दाश्त કર્યા છે तो उसके बारे में थोड़ी रोशनी देंगे मेरे को
I don't know the question, I don't understand the question, but it could be Imam talking about historically, or he's telling you, why are you crying with a small hardship when the Jamaat in the past have taken the hardship of the wars and fighting and all of that. So we have to look at the entire Farman, not just one line, and it will give you a better understanding. G.
ओके थैंक यू
You're welcome.
Sir, we have another question. Can you elaborate on faith as a matter of intellect?
Okay. So give me 1 second. Let me go back to that. All right. Sorry about that. Just give me 1 second. I had closed it down. So let me open back up so I can show you, and it will help you visualize it better. Okay. So I have it open again. And there it is. Okay. So you see that on your screen again. Now you can see it. Okay. So if you look at this, faith as a matter of intellect. First thing that should come in our mind, the faith is never ever without intellect. That's the first thing should come in our mind. The faith is never ever without intellect. Second thing should come in your mind, the faith comes from the intellect. Third thing should come in your mind, the highest level of the hudud-e-din, the hierarchy of religion, is the intellect, the akle-kol, meaning a faith comes from the highest ranking hudud-e-din, the akle-kol. So faith comes from the top to the bottom, meaning from akle-kol to nafse-kol to natik to asaz to imam to hujjat, the peer, to dai, and from dai to asgarib mominin. That's why I said there is a great question hidden in this one. The faith as a matter of intellect. Do you understand how the faith comes? And it comes from the highest level of akle-kol, the highest level of hierarchy of religion, hudud-e-din. And you saw the flow. Akle-kol is the first thing that has the Nur-e-Ilahi in his most purest form. Imam today is that akle-kol. In other words, faith is a matter of Imam and his akle-kol. You see the tawil upon tawil, the understanding upon understanding. So in other words, the faith is a matter of intellect, aklekul, imam. In other words, there is no faith. There is no faith without the imam. Without the imam. Then, if you go further in this one, the reason I open this up again, the intellect, the human intellect is what must engage in the practice of the faith. No, our intellect, the human intellect, and the imam's intellect are like a rope, like a rope. The akle kul and akle juzvi, the lower intellect. So now we are talking about two sides of intellect, the akle kul and akle juzvi, the lower intellect and higher intellect. So Imam is saying the human intellect, the lower intellect, must be engaged in the practice of the faith. If you are not engaging that intellect, how will you connect to the Imam? Whoever was asking question, did you understand this? And does everyone else understand this? If not, ask again. Because here we are talking about the batin of the batin, the multiple interpretation of the understanding of the faith and the use of the intellect in the faith. G.
So we have a couple of questions in the chat. So you mentioned this is the time of manifestation. Please elaborate.
G. So it is said, and you can see that in the Quran, and there are few ayat that you can look at, 79:22, Surah 2, ayat number 210, I believe also 89:22. You will see it in different places. You will find that on the day of Qiyamah, you will be able to see Allah, or Allah will be in front of you, or Allah will come from the behind the cloud, meaning he will no longer be in the hiding or unseen. Matter of fact, he will be seen, meaning he will manifest himself in the time of Qiyamah. Because today is the time of Qiyamah with the very announcement, open announcement by Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah, Salvatullah Alayhi, may our soul be sacrificed to that Imam. At the age of 8, he declared that this is the last time, the time of Qiyamah. And with that, the manifestation of Imam started. And today, there is no one in the world who are paying attention and does not know about the Imam. Imam, how many times have you seen in the past? Look at the history of 49 Imams, where Imam in every single speech openly declare, I am the Ale Nabi Aulade Ali, the 49th Imam of this Islam, of the Ismaili Tariqah. He is declaring himself, he is manifesting himself openly without any veil. He has shown himself from the behind the cloud. He was always there behind the cloud. Now he has manifested himself. So today is the time of Zahurat, of the manifestation. Some take this manifestation as that Imam is just telling everybody, but it is more on the level of the Nur and the faith. Initial manifestation has to be with the Jamaat, with the believers. G.
So another question, what is the relationship between intellect and khayal?
Right. So where does Khyal lives and where does intellect lives? That's where the relationship starts. ख्याल कहां पर है और अक्ल कहां पर है? Think that way first. Where does your ख्याल manifest from and where is your intellect? You will have to say they both lives right here in your brain. That's where both manifest from. So those who have used their intellect for the good, their khyal will be higher and better. We will come to Betul Khyal in a minute. And those who have not used their intellect for the good, their khyal will be of a such that they will harm themselves and people around them. So you see, the use of the intellect will reflect on your khyal. Now let's talk about the Betul Khyal. Intellect plays a huge role in Betul Khyal. Betul Khyal has two meanings: the thought of the higher and thought of the batin. Two meaning: thought of the higher and thought of the batin. बेतुल ख्याल का दो मतलब होता है, बुलंदी का सोचना और अंदर का सोचना, बातिन का सोचना. Two. So intellect and the ख्याल, which are production of the intellect, and I'm just talking about the intellect which is used in the faith, will produce a good ख्याल, good thoughts, good habits, and then it will help you produce the ख्याल of the higher, meaning understanding of the higher, and the batin, the inner world. So you see, the intellect and the ख्याल has a very well good connection. So those who do not use their intellect for the faith, their ख्याल will not be such that they will be able to go into Betul Khyal on the higher level or Batini level. I hope that was your question and this has the answer to it. G.
So friends asking if you could explain again, the human intellect is what must engage in the practice of faith.
Okay, I'm trying to understand the question. Can you repeat that question once again?
Sir, this friend wants to know if you could explain one more time, the human intellect is what must engage in the practice of faith. It is from the Parman of Hazimah.
Okay, all right. So the explanation of the intellect is that faith comes from, on number one, from the intellect. From which intellect? From akle kul, meaning the faith is based on intellect. Those faiths which are not based on intellect will have hocus pocus things in it. But the faith which is based on the intellect will be the right faith. Because this intellect, we are talking about the highest level of hudud-e-din, hierarchy of religion, which is akle kul. So faith is based on higher ranking, top ranking hudud-e-din, akle kul. And through akle kul, it comes to the nafse kul. Through nafse kul, it comes to the natik. Through natik, it comes to the asas. From asas, it comes to the imam. From imam, it comes to hujjat, the pir. From pir, it comes to dai. From dai, it comes to asgarib and nachis. So faith comes from the akle kul, and through all of those hudud-e-din to us. And therefore, faith as a matter of intellect, meaning faith is depending on the hudud-e-deen. Then Nachi said there is a second interpretation, a further deeper interpretation, that Imam-e-Zaman is the Akle-Kul, and therefore without the Imam there is no faith. Without the Imam there is no faith, because Imam is that intellect. And then thirdly, that we, and if you can see the screen in the blue highlight, the human intellect is the Akle Garizi, the lower intellect, and Imam is the Akle Kul, the higher intellect. So those must be engaged. So those who engage their human intellect with the Akle Kul will have the faith. You understand that? Because there is a connection. Without Imam, there is no faith. And if you don't engage, if you don't connect your lower intellect, the human intellect, with Imam's intellect, the higher intellect, the Akle Kul, then there is no faith. So you must engage the intellect in the practice of faith, meaning you must learn about the Imam and his higher intellect, Akle Kul, so you can engage your lower intellect to the higher intellect, and with that you can understand the meaning of your faith, because faith as a matter of intellect. G.
So the friend who asked earlier the question about faith as a matter of intellect is asking, so then what is the connection of Isme Azam and intellect?
Everything falls in between, right? The practice of Jamaat Khana, the practice of Ibadat, and of course, practice of the Isme Azam bowl. Everything falls between these two. The intellect, if you don't understand your Isme Azam, how will you follow your faith? How will you do your Ibadat? How will you connect to the Akle Kul? And what is Akle Kul? Imam. And where did Isme Azam come from? The Akle Kul, the Imam. You see how everything falls between these two. That's the rope of the Imamat. That is how we're going to climb up to the intellect. Akle Kul, the Imam. Everything comes from here. Isme Azam comes from here. Faith comes from here. Intellect comes from here. Understanding comes from here. Everything comes from the Imam, who is the Akle Kul. Everything falls under. If you have not connected, if there's no rope between these two, if there's no connection, there's no engagement, you see everything falls under this too. Inshallah, maybe I can make a diagram of this so we can visualize. So let's put this on to the next week session. Maybe I can build a diagram to make you understand how there is a connection between the higher intellect and the lower intellect, and everything is in between. G.
So we don't have any questions.
I think we should stop here. We are running in overtime. And if you
Ji,
have
sir.
any question, keep sending your question. Kamra Sahib will save it and keep the line open for a few minutes so they can pose the questions. And we can continue on this subject. Remember, the subject has not ended. We will continue on the ilm and the understanding of our faith. Inshallah. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Kamra Sahib. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you.
Jali Madad, sir. Thank
Ya
you,
Ali
sir.
Madad.
يعني مدد
या अली मदद,
मौला सुखी सलामत आबाद रखे, दीन और दुनिया में इसका असर दे।
आमीन आमीन। या अली मदद, या अली मदद,
Thank you very much.
या अली मदद, या अली मदद,
मौला अली मदद, मौला તમારી
યાલી.
સેવા કબૂલ કરે,
આમીન,
સેવાનો
આમીન.
બદલો બને જાનમાં આપે.
आमीन आमीन। या अली मदद, या अली मदद।
Madad.